If you're over 60, this video is especially for you, and I ask you to stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal could completely change the way you look at certain foods you've always believed were harmless. Imagine going to bed feeling perfectly fine and waking up unable to speak, walk, or even move one side of your body. It sounds frightening, doesn't it? But this could be linked to something as simple as a piece of fruit. Yes, a fruit you've probably eaten your whole life, one that's always been considered healthy, but after 60, it can silently turn into a hidden risk for your brain, especially when eaten at the wrong time of day or combined with other factors. In this video, I'll walk you through 6 common fruits that, depending on how you eat them, could quietly increase your risk of stroke overnight. And most importantly, you'll learn how to keep enjoying their flavor and benefits without putting your health in danger. So make sure to subscribe here to the Longevity channel and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to get videos like this, packed with practical, science-based tips to protect your health, memory, and independence for many years to come. Oh, and at the very end, I've prepared a special gift for you, a complete guide to dive even deeper into this topic, available for a symbolic price. I'm sure it will help you a lot. They look so harmless, don't they? Tiny, sweet, refreshing, always present in salads, on the family lunch table, or even as a light snack with the grandkids. But after the age of 60, grapes may not be as innocent as they seem. Here's why. Grapes are basically sugar in small natural capsules. Even seedless ones, especially the extra sweet varieties sold in most grocery stores today, carry a very high load of glucose and fructose. And when you eat a handful, especially on an empty stomach, that sugar rushes straight into your bloodstream far too quickly. Now here's the problem. As we age, our insulin response slows down and our blood vessels become more delicate and fragile. That sugar spike doesn't just give you a quick boost of energy, it also puts extra stress on your brain and heart. Inside your blood vessels, excess sugar creates microscopic inflammation, tiny injuries that your body tries to patch up by forming clots. At first, you don't notice anything, but day after day, the risk keeps building until suddenly you experience dizziness, slurred speech, or loss of balance. That's exactly what happened to Mrs. Evelyn, a retired music teacher. She loved her morning routine, a big bowl of red grapes with her tea. She believed it was healthy, but on one morning, while writing a birthday card for her grandson, her hand began to tremble. Moments later, she couldn't remember how to spell the word congratulations. At the hospital, doctors diagnosed her with a mini stroke, a transient ischemic attack. Tests revealed high blood sugar and signs of vessel inflammation she never knew she had. The lesson is clear. Grapes are not poison, but they shouldn't be eaten in excess or the wrong way. Here's some practical advice. Never eat grapes on an empty stomach. Avoid eating them in large amounts, especially at night. And whenever possible, pair them with protein or healthy fats, like a handful of almonds or a slice of cheese to slow down the sugar rush. That way, you can still enjoy their taste and benefits without putting your brain and heart at unnecessary risk. It's tropical, refreshing, and always feels like the healthy choice after a meal. But after the age of 60, pineapple can carry silent risks that most people never consider. Have you ever noticed that when you eat pineapple at night, some people wake up with reflux, heartburn, or just feeling off in the morning? That's not a coincidence. Pineapple isn't just very sweet with a high glycemic index, it's also one of the most acidic fruits you can buy. Here's the problem. That sugar floods your bloodstream quickly, putting stress on your heart and blood vessels. The acidity can quietly trigger nighttime reflux, often without pain. Tiny amounts of acid may reach your airways while you sleep, lowering oxygen to your brain. And that kind of oxygen drop has been directly linked to early morning strokes. Pineapple also contains an enzyme called bromelain. In small amounts, it can help digestion, but in excess, especially if you're on blood thinners or circulation medications, it can interfere with clotting, making your blood too thin and raising stroke risk. Let me share a real story. Mrs. Clara, 77, a retired choir director, thought she was making a healthy choice. Instead of cake or cookies, she'd enjoy a few slices of fresh pineapple every night after dinner. But one morning, she woke up dizzy. Her speech was slurred, and she couldn't walk straight. At the hospital, doctors confirmed a minor stroke. Her blood sugar was elevated, her lab showed clotting issues, and signs of reflex-related oxygen drops during sleep. What seemed like a safe fruit turned out to be part of a silent storm. So what's the lesson here? Pineapple isn't the enemy, but timing and moderation matter. Eat it only in small amounts. Choose it earlier in the day, and never before bed, especially if you're taking blood thinners or blood pressure medication.
This way, you can enjoy the tropical taste without putting your brain and heart at unnecessary risk. Watermelon feels like the perfect summer fruit, sweet, refreshing, and made up of almost 90% water. But after the age of 60, it can quietly become more dangerous than most people realize, especially if you eat it at night. Here's the part no one talks about. Watermelon works as a natural diuretic. That means it makes your body release more fluids. Sounds harmless, right? But think about it. Many older adults are already taking diuretic medications to control blood pressure or heart conditions. When you combine those meds with large portions of watermelon, especially in the evening, you increase your risk of nighttime dehydration. And why is that such a problem? At night, your blood pressure naturally drops. If you're dehydrated, your blood gets thicker, flows more slowly, almost like syrup. Thickened blood plus fragile, aging arteries creates the perfect environment for small clots to form, and those clots can cause a silent stroke while you sleep. Let me share the story of Mr. Howard, 82, a retired postal worker. He loved ending his evenings with 2 or 3 big slices of watermelon, thinking it was a healthy way to stay hydrated. But one morning, he woke up dizzy, tried to stand, and collapsed. At the hospital, tests showed dehydration, dangerously low blood pressure, and even a small ischemic stroke. What he thought was a healthy habit was actually pulling water out of his system instead of putting it in. So what's the solution? You can still enjoy watermelon, but eat it earlier in the day. Avoid it before bed. If you do eat it, pair it with a pinch of natural salt or a sip of coconut water to help your body retain fluids. And if you're taking diuretics, talk to your doctor before making watermelon a daily habit. This way, you get the refreshing taste without the silent risks to your brain and heart. Oranges have always been a symbol of health. A glass of juice at breakfast, a slice after lunch, even tucked into a Christmas stocking from the grandkids. They're famous for vitamin C and immune support. But after the age of 60, oranges, and especially orange juice, can quietly become risky. And it's not just about sugar. The real problem lies in a natural compound found in citrus fruits called furanocoumarin. This compound interferes with the liver enzymes responsible for processing many common medications used by older adults, including drugs for blood pressure, cholesterol, and even blood thinners. So what does that mean? Your medication can become too strong, dropping your blood pressure dangerously low or overwhelming your liver. Or it may not work properly at all, leaving your blood unstable and raising your risk of a silent stroke. Let me share the story of Mr. Elbert, 89, a retired postal worker. Every morning, he had a ritual, a glass of fresh orange juice with his heart and cholesterol medications. He called it his sunshine in a glass. But over time, he began to feel dizzy when standing up, sometimes confused in the mornings, until one day he collapsed getting out of his recliner. At the hospital, doctors discovered he'd had a minor ischemic stroke. Blood tests showed dangerously high medication levels in his system, not because he took too much, but because his liver couldn't process the drugs properly due to his daily orange juice habit. So what's the takeaway? Avoid drinking orange juice alongside your medications. If you enjoy citrus flavor, eat the fruit in moderation or choose safer options. A small splash of lemon or lime in water is usually safer with fewer interactions. Oranges don't have to be your enemy. But after 60, it's important to rethink how and when you consume them, especially if you rely on daily prescriptions. Watermelon. Light, juicy, refreshing. With over 90% water, most people believe it's the perfect way to stay hydrated, especially on a hot summer day. But after 60, watermelon may not be as harmless as it looks. Here's the surprising truth. Watermelon works like a natural diuretic. That means it makes you urinate more. For younger people, this isn't a big issue, but for older adults, especially those already taking blood pressure medications or water pills, it can tip the balance towards overnight dehydration. And dehydration at night is dangerous. When your body loses too much fluid, your blood becomes thicker, almost syrup-like. Blood flow slows down, especially in narrow arteries. This creates the perfect setup for clot formation, raising stroke risk while you sleep.
Let me share the story of Mr. Howard, 82, a retired postal worker. Every evening after dinner, he'd eat 2 or 3 large slices of watermelon to stay hydrated. He thought it was the healthiest choice. But one morning, he woke up dizzy and collapsed when he tried to stand. At the ER, doctors found that his blood pressure had dropped dangerously low, and tests confirmed dehydration and thickened blood. Scans revealed a small ischemic stroke. He never imagined that watermelon, the fruit he trusted to hydrate him, was quietly pulling water out of his system, especially when combined with his diuretic medications. So what's the takeaway? Enjoy watermelon earlier in the day, not at night. Eat it in moderation, never in large bowls. If you're on diuretics or blood pressure medication, ask your doctor before making it a daily habit. Pair watermelon with electrolytes, a pinch of salt or a sip of coconut water, to help your body retain hydration. Watermelon can still be refreshing and safe, but after 60, timing and balance make all the difference. Sweet, tropical, and refreshing, pineapple feels like a healthy dessert. Many seniors choose it over cakes or cookies, believing it's the better option. But after 60, pineapple may carry hidden risks for your brain and heart, especially if eaten at the wrong time. Here's why. Pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain. In small amounts, it helps with digestion, but in larger amounts or when combined with blood-thinning medications, bromelain can interfere with your body's ability to clot properly. That means your blood can become too thin, raising the risk of brain bleeds, a type of stroke that's harder to recover from. Pineapple is also very high in sugar, with a high glycemic index. Eating it at night when your metabolism slows down floods your bloodstream with sugar your body won't burn. This excess sugar circulates overnight, putting stress on your blood vessels. And let's not forget the acid. Pineapple is one of the most acidic fruits. For many seniors, it can silently trigger acid reflux during sleep, even without heartburn. Small amounts of acid can reach your airways, lowering oxygen supply to your brain, which research shows is directly linked to early morning strokes. Let me show the story of Mrs. Clara, 77, a retired choir director. Every evening, she would eat a few slices of fresh pineapple after dinner, proud of avoiding sweets. But one morning, she woke up dizzy, unable to walk straight, and her speech was slurred. At the hospital, doctors confirmed a small posterior stroke. Tests showed a mix of high blood sugar, disrupted clotting, and oxygen stress from nighttime reflux. The fruit she trusted had quietly contributed to the problem. So what's the takeaway? Enjoy pineapple in small portions and earlier in the day. Never eat pineapple on an empty stomach. Avoid it before bed, especially if you're on medications that affect blood clotting. If you take blood thinners, always talk to your doctor first. Pineapple can still be part of your diet, but after 60, timing and portion control are everything. For decades, oranges have been seen as a symbol of health. A glass of orange juice at breakfast, a fresh slice after lunch, even tucked into a Christmas stocking by the grandkids. They're known for vitamin C and immune support. But after the age of 60, oranges, and especially orange juice, may not be as harmless as they seem. Here's why. Oranges and other citrus fruits contain a compound called furanocoumarin. It interferes with liver enzymes responsible for processing many common medications, including drugs for blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood thinning. That means your body may hold on to too much of the drug, making it dangerously strong, or it may stop processing it properly, leaving you unprotected. Both situations quietly raise stroke risk. Take Mr. Elbert, 89, a retired bus driver. Every morning, he had a ritual, a glass of fresh orange juice with his heart and cholesterol medications. He called it his sunshine in a glass.
But over time, he began feeling dizzy and lightheaded until one morning he collapsed. At the hospital, doctors found that he had suffered a mild ischemic stroke. Blood tests revealed dangerously elevated drug levels, caused not by overdosing, but by the daily interaction between his orange juice and his prescriptions.
So what's the takeaway? Don't take medications with orange juice or any citrus juice. If you love citrus flavor, enjoy it in small portions and at a safe distance from your meds. A splash of lemon or lime in water is usually safer with far fewer interactions. Oranges don't have to be completely off your list, but after 60, it's vital to rethink how and when you consume them, especially if you rely on daily prescriptions. Bananas. Soft, sweet, and familiar. For most of us, they've been part of our diet since childhood. They feel safe, comforting, and healthy. But after 60, especially when overripe, bananas can quietly become a risk for your brain and heart. Here's why. As bananas ripen, their starches break down into sugar, raising their glycemic index. That means an overripe banana causes your blood sugar to spike much faster. Bananas are also very high in potassium. Normally, potassium is essential, but with age, kidney function slows and blood vessels stiffen, making it harder to regulate potassium and blood pressure. The combination of sugar spikes and high potassium can disrupt heart rhythm and increase stroke risk. Let me tell you about Margaret, 76, a retired librarian. Every morning, she blended 2 overripe bananas into her smoothie, convinced it was the healthiest choice. But one morning, she woke up dizzy and her speech was slurred. At the ER, doctors confirmed a mild ischemic stroke. Her potassium levels were high, her blood pressure had spiked, and dehydration from the night before made it worse. After switching to smaller, greener bananas, only after drinking water and adding protein first, her energy stabilized and her blood pressure improved. So what's the takeaway? Bananas are not the enemy, but overripe bananas eaten in large amounts or on an empty stomach can quietly tip the balance against seniors. If you enjoy bananas, choose them slightly green, pair them with protein, and avoid eating them first thing in the morning. Now you know even fruits that seem healthy can become risky after 60, depending on how and when you eat them. Grapes, pineapples, watermelons, oranges, bananas, and others all have hidden effects on your brain, heart, and medications. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. With small adjustments, you can keep enjoying your favorite fruits while protecting your brain and heart. Eat them earlier in the day, in smaller portions, and always pair them with protein or healthy fat to reduce sugar spikes. Your independence, your clarity, and your vitality are worth protecting. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe to Longevity, and leave a comment below with the word AWARE. And remember, right below this video, we've prepared a special ebook for a symbolic value where you'll find even more strategies to protect your brain and heart. Because living longer is good, but living better, that's what truly matters.